fun little discussion topic here that I kind of want to talk about, debate about, kind of want to get the comment section going of, is it even possible now in 2023 for a new contender to join the home console scene? So think back to like Gen 5 when Sony came in and they were a major disruptor, right? They led the generation and nobody had heard of a Sony console before.
And then all of a sudden Microsoft came out in Gen 6 with the Xbox, and now it's Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo. But back in the day it was just Sega and Nintendo. And it was like these consoles, these competitors were coming in and taking over, but is that even possible in today's landscape with like everything being so high tech, so just over the top, so just hardware heavy, where it's just like, do the consoles even matter because they're basically the same thing?
And you even in the 16-bit era, the TurboGrafx 16 was able to come in there. Atari was still kind of hanging around, and we've really migrated to, which you already alluded to, the big three.
The big three.
And from a home console perspective, is that ever going to change? I know the Amico kind of flopped, and we've never really covered it, but they tried getting in there in a weird niche type of way.
But it never fully came out. I know that the Steam Deck is out, and a lot of people are into the Steam Deck, but I don't think that's comparable, and I think that's only like for people that are diehard like computer PC players. They're like, oh, I love Steam, let me get the Steam Deck. I feel like your home console gamers, they've heard of the Steam Deck, but I don't know many people that are going to buy the Steam Deck. I know like the Oculus is out, but that's all like VR stuff.
That's tied with meta type of stuff. And I think the same. So I think the Steam Deck's pretty awesome. It's not necessarily for me. If I got one at the right price, so I'd probably play the hell out of it. The Oculus, everybody that I know that has one, they really wanted one. They play it for a couple months, and then it's like they're back to playing their PS4 or their PS5.
That's just how I feel about VR in general. Like VR is kind of cool for a little bit, but then I'm like, okay, can we just play with a regular controller? Can we just get into it? Like, it's not perfected yet for it to be. I mean, it's cool. I don't see the appeal for it,
Yeah, and the reason I started thinking about this, I've been thinking about this for a little while, because occasionally, I don't know if you've ever been going through your YouTube feed, and somebody out there will have a thumbnail with a mock-up of a Dreamcast 2.
Yes.
Like, is that even possible? Sega's got such a backlog of IPs and titles that they still kind of dabble with. New Sonic games come out, and we got a new Streets of Rage.
And they're still putting out games.
But could they even go to, or another company, maybe it's not even the Dreamcast 2, but could anybody step in and battle? And I think your point earlier, I think the bar and barrier of entry has gotten so high that it's almost like a three-headed monopoly, if you will.
It's absolutely impossible, I feel like, at this point, because, like, we've already kind of discussed, like, the next generation of consoles are probably going to be all discless. They might not even be consoles. They're going to just be these huge or these small powerful machines that you just plug into your TV and you're able to play your consoles or play your games. It's just so weird because, like, back in the day, like when Sony came out with the PlayStation 1, nobody had heard of Sony. They released this PlayStation 1, and all of a sudden, it's like the best-selling thing on...
You were like, wait a second, this company makes TVs and stereos, and now?
And now they're making a home console, and it's like became the best-selling thing of that generation, and it's just... How did that... Because it offered different things, or...
it was kind of that jump. Like, obviously, Sega Saturn did discs, but it did have a very futuristic... So... I think, kind of what you're getting to is how would someone do that and disrupt it and differentiate themselves?
Yeah, how do you, in today's market when everything is so like 4K, 8K, high speed, all this stuff, how do you release a console that is different enough but still powerful enough that would make people, like, I just don't think it's... The only person that could possibly do it would be Sega, because they're a household name, they're already a company that people know, and I think Sega has such a fan base that if Sega were to release a console, people go crazy. But they would have to do something very unique and very different.
And what is unique now?
I don't know.
Every console, I guess the Switch doesn't, but you almost have to be able to play DVDs and Blu-rays. That's kind of, you have to be able to play online games.
Now, at this freaking Sony thing, they announced you're able to, they're a Sony handheld now. That's basically the Switch. So that's going to be, Microsoft's probably going to do something similar. I know Sony already did that with the Vita and PSP, and that flopped, but they're bringing it back again. So they're already releasing these things, so every console distributor is the same, basically. It's all like, on-the-go gaming, powerful gaming. It's just, have to, I don't know what you'd have to do to be different. It's just weird, dude.
You'd have to have a bankroll, because I know Atari tried, what was their little thing that came out, a year or so, the VCS or whatever. It was accessing a digital storefront, basically, to play games. it was a flop.
Yeah.
So even if Sega even did something where it was like, hey, this is just a conduit to all of our old stuff, our library.
That'd be so cool.
Dreamcast, Saturn, Genesis, you know.
That'd be so Master System games. That'd be so
Game Gear.
That'd be so freaking badass. But how would you be able to? Like, you'd have to be able to offer all that, and then be able to offer more on top of that.
Yeah, like
because gamers are so used to having access to everything. You know, Game Pass. You're able to stream all these games. Plus, you know, if you are launching a new console, then you'll have to, you know, with third-party games.
Yeah.
It's like, how do you afford to do that? And
yeah, if you can't, how Nintendo does it without, you know, like a Call of Duty every year or whatever, because people are so into that stuff.
Yeah.
You have to have those.
You have to have
games.
something that will drive the sales, even if it's, you know, the generic games like that come out yearly. But man, if you could launch a console that is super unique with all those IPs, and then also release like your Call of Duties, your Maddens, your all this stuff that sells well yearly, and then I think, even if you could do all that, you'd still have to do more.
Yeah,
you'd still have to do more.
I mean, you're touching on what I personally think was the downfall of the Dreamcast is they didn't have EA Sports.
Yeah,
that was a huge deal. And what's crazy is 2K Sports was badass.
Oh, it was incredible.
But it wasn't a household name.
It wasn't the brand.
It was hard to get kids who wanted to play Madden to say, well, how about NFL 2K2?
No, because you go, no, I want to play Madden.
Yeah,
because that's the name brand game. Dude, can you imagine if the Dreamcast would have an EA game?
Oh, if it would have stuck around longer.
It would have
sure.
been. I think they would have sold so many more. I think more people would have got it because you got that freaking household name. You know, so you have to be able to do that. And then I think it could just be like us old people. But if you're going to release a new console, make it so it plays discs. Make it so it has physical media. That could just be a personal thing that I want, but
I think that would be a niche crowd. It would make me happy for sure.
That'd be awesome.
I guess where I kind of end up on this is overall, I think we're a generation or two away from home console gaming being drastically different as we know it.
Yeah.
So what's that mean? When things like that are monumental changes, does that open a door for somebody to come in? I just almost feel like it's been so normalized that it's Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo that I don't think a new competitor can get in the race. As much as I would love it, because competition breeds great things for everybody.
I think it would be, but I just don't think it is possible. And like, even like, man, probably starting in like Gen 7, you know, the 360 and PS3 era, there's been no like exponential leaps for the next generation. You know, like graphics just slightly improved. They're basically the same consoles, just more powerful.
Yeah.
You know, back in the day, it was like, oh, disc base. You can hold more. So, like, when a new console or a new competitor came around, it was like, oh, it makes sense because it's a new technology.
Yeah.
Unless a new technology comes out that we don't know about, you know, that would be...
Maybe in that VR space. But, you know, and I don't say not everything is possible.
Yeah.
It's just not... I don't think it's plausible,
No,
if that makes sense.
It would be super badass if Sega was like, hey, we're coming out with this thing and it's going to be able to offer this, and this. I'd be so hyped.
Yeah.
But I think the only one that could do it would be Sega.
Yeah.
I don't think any other company has enough pull. And you'd have to offer so much. And I would really love if someone tried.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But that'd be such a financial risk.
Yeah, it would. It'd be huge, you know, and I feel like they're in a safe space now where they don't need a home console. They can license their games to the other consoles and let them do the dirty work and just work on the games.
And so they're probably not even thinking about it. It's going to be weird in the future because I don't even know if consoles are going to be a thing anymore, you know, because Microsoft's talking about, you know, getting rid of their consoles and just being all streaming games and going...
It'll be interesting. I think
it's gonna be really weird.
The last one to keep it together, I think, will be Nintendo. But what's that look like? What's that mean? It will be fascinating to watch it play out. I don't think I'm going to like the direction things go.
I don't think so either.
But it's just going to be fun. It's a fun time to just see what's going to happen. Although, like I said, I'm not happy about what I think is going to happen.
I think if it does get to that point, you know, where it is all digital and it's all this stuff, which we've talked about ad nauseum lately, that maybe once that's became the normal, then a new competitor could step in and be like, oh, a console, you know, to get people. But at this point in 2023, I don't think you would just have to be able to offer everything, and I don't think that's even possible.
Yeah, it would be tough. It would be tough. And the other thing is home consoles have gotten so similar. if you do something way different and it's hard for developers to develop for your system because it's not the norm.
Like the Wii U?
Yeah. That creates a bind for these third-party developers. So you almost have to release something that's the exact same. So where's the differentiator? What would pull someone from Sony to brand X?
Yeah, and then
or
also
Microsoft.
and then also, you know, gamers, since the consoles are basically the same, gamers, you know, are loyal to the brand, or they like the controller. You know, so are you a Sony controller or are you an Xbox controller? So then it's like, do you just build a similar controller? So then it's like,
Yeah.
I mean, the Dreamcast was freaking weird with their controller.
Yeah.
But if you release that in 2023, people would go, "What the hell is this?" You
Yeah,
know?
it would not land well.
People wouldn't like it.
Yeah.
So it would be really, really tough.
Yeah.
It'd be really awesome.
Just a topic I wanted to touch on. It's just been kind of marinating up here in the old headspace for a little bit, but we'd love in the comments, what do you think it would take? Who could do it? What would it look like?
Yeah, just
For the next generation of
Let's just
consoles,
brainstorm.
if a new competitor joined.
oh, what if it was just built in like guns and like
Yeah.
that'd be awesome.
Yeah, that would maybe, if it was like a home arcade experience, you know, maybe that could do something.
But then also like
more motion controls.
you gotta like that's the tough part is everything's the same and it works and it's user friendly. So if you try and make something that's weird and different, is a casual person going to be able to figure it out?
Yeah.
Is a casual person going to be able to like be like, oh, this is how this works? Is it user friendly? Does it make sense? Is it easy just to plug and play? You know, like that's also a tough thing because if it's not, it's going to flop.
Yeah.
You know, so you gotta find that fine line of easy to use but also offers a lot, which is tough to do.
Yeah. There's just a few things that aren't currently hyper in the current space, right? Music games have, for the most part, and I'm talking Rock Band and Guitar Heroes, they've pretty much died. The motion control stuff, kind of with the Wii, the PS Move, you can still do that stuff with VR, but for the most part, it's not a norm.
And
Light
the
gun
Switch can kind of do it, but not really.
Yeah, it's so maybe there's some opportunity there. I
think that's just it's just a niched freaking thing that's just stuff that we like.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah, for sure.
So,
and they're not out there trying to sell things to 30-somethings.
No,
they're
not.
worried about the younger generation.
Yeah, so it's gonna. I'm just really curious what's gonna happen in the future, and it would be. I mean, I would be hyped if a new competitor was like gonna try.
Yeah,
I'd definitely try and support them. Especially if it was Sega.
Yeah,
So,
no doubt.
Come on, Sega.
And we didn't make this thumbnail with a fake Dreamcast 2 on it because we are not trying to drum up that type of stuff, but it would be badass.
It would be really cool, dude. There's so many awesome Sega IPs. Dude.
Yeah.
Oh, I know they're still making games, so it's not like they're dead.
No, but it's just it's been a while.
It's-
We haven't got a Shinobi. Was the last Shinobi on 3DS? I think.
Stained was right, dude. It has been a while.
Yeah, it has. Anyway, guys, we just wanted to chat a little bit, just a discussion-based episode. Thanks for hanging out. Hit the comment section below. We'll see you next time right here on the one and only Gaming Off the Grid.